Welcome back everyone, I'm Keegs, and today we are moving on to issue number 2 of Thrawn Alliances, the comic book adaptation. When we ended our last video, Thrawn and Vader were under attack in the same exact bar that past Thrawn and Anakin were also attacked in. Present-day Thrawn and Vader are much more prepared though, and were not taken by surprise as they had been in the past. Thrawn does tell Vader to actually try to keep some of them alive this time so that they can, interrogate them, and the two actually do seamlessly fight off the attackers with fairly little resistance. But as the last attacker is fleeing, Vader reaches out to stop him using the Force when he is immediately overwhelmed with feelings of surprise, anxiety, confusion, anger, pain, fear, all the above. And he realizes that this is whatever the disturbance the Emperor was talking about, and these sharp reactions must have been caused by the explosion outside. Thrawn thinks that perhaps their freighter was attacked, but Vader knows that isn't it. He believes it came from the houses that the bartender was talking about, and that has to be where the disturbance lies. The two go to leave, but are surprised with an attack from behind of these bug-like flying things that are a quick-setting permacrete that swarm around their target and harden into a concrete-type substance, completely immobilizing the person. Once the two are completely encased in all the concrete and can't move, the attackers move in to deal with Thrawn and Vader, thinking that they're now completely helpless, but of course we all know that Vader is never truly helpless. He uses the Force to explode the substance off of him, and then in one quick motion, he uses his lightsaber to cut through every single attacker. Vader's like, I assume you don't need prisoners anymore after having already killed them all, and Thrawn is like, yeah, no, I think the situation has probably moved past that now since we know where they're going, and also they were trying to kill us, so I'd rather them be dead than us. Vader is cutting the material off Thrawn when Thrawn asks if he even still senses the disturbance, and Vader is like, no, actually I don't. They're either dead or unconscious now. And Thrawn immediately picks up on the word they and is like, oh, you think there's more than one then? Vader says, yes, I do. Do you know what they are? And Thrawn is like, I believe I do, and we absolutely must save them. So if you know anything about Thrawn, you might have a guess as to what they're hunting. He reaches down and picks up the knife from one of the dead attackers, and the two take off in a hurry. Flashing back to the past now, Anakin wakes up and Thrawn looks over at him and is like, finally, sleepyhead. Anakin asks what happened, and Thrawn lets him know that the attackers used a double-pronged attack. They hit us with the gas to knock us out, and then fired from the other side. Do you see where they were aiming? Anakin looks over and sees bullet holes aimed directly where his chest would have been, and is like, well, I guess I owe you a thanks for saving me by pushing me out of the way of those blaster bolts. But Thrawn is like, yeah, I mean, it was more of a coincidence. I was just using you as leverage to get up higher where the gas would be less effective. I thought you'd probably do the same, but instead you stayed down low and passed out. But I did gather from the way they attacked us that you're probably a Jedi. Anakin is like, yeah, duh, isn't that obvious? But Thrawn says, no, my people have myths and legends about the Jedi and the Sith, though the Sith do seem to tend to be a little cleverer and greater warriors in their myths. Anyways, 3 of the guys attacked us, and I suspect one is outside waiting to report back what happened. We don't want him to use the comms though, since we want to follow him back to wherever he came from. So Anakin has R2 jam the signals, and then they devise this clever little plan for Anakin to use the Force to lift one of the dead bodies and make it appear as if it's walking out like a prisoner, which honestly just seems like a crazy feat of a mastery over the Force, if you ask me, but, don't say master and Anakin in the same sentence. But Anakin takes him onto his ship while Thrawn stays behind to trail the last guy and waits for that guy to report back to his boss. Anakin doesn't get very high in the atmosphere though before his engines blow out due to some sabotage, and he ends up jumping out of his ship, landing on a droid that was attacking Thrawn after Thrawn had found out where the guy was going. They entered the ship to find out they were selling quadranium to someone, but they were actually loading up the bottom with useless rocks to steal from the person that they were selling to. So there's a good chance the person they ripped off might be coming back to collect. And Thrawn and Anakin are likely dealing with 2 different groups of people. They learn that the ship was headed to a place called Sermau, but Thrawn is like, I doubt they would have put the actual destination in there. The place they're actually going is probably somewhere on that route, and they were going to stop before they actually got there. On that route though, the only place R2 recognizes is the place Batuu. Thrawn then overhears a conversation from the bug that he had placed in the bar earlier, and he says that the people are concerned that their scheme may have been discovered by the people whose ship they stole. Anakin and Thrawn decide that they probably need to go have a chat with those people. Meanwhile, flash over to Padmé in the further past, and she's on her way to Mokiv, when a vulture droid attacked her ship and she has to eject using an escape pod, which obviously is going to go right into enemy territory, so out of the frying pan and into the fire. And with that, we are halfway through this story. It can get a little confusing with all the multiple timelines and perspectives, but hopefully this was decently clear to understand. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments though. I'm Keegs, and I will catch you all next time for issue number 3 of Thrawn Alliances.